I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to 2023. I hope you're ready to get this party started. We're about to. And by the way, we've got a really big event coming up. It'll be a live event. We'll be announcing the date 2 weeks before the time, so be listening for it. If you sign up for our newsletter, you'll get it in your email. My name is Chris. I'm calling my brother Patrick, and we are the Constitution Commandos. I meant to send you a text last night, and by the time I thought about it, it was 2 o'clock this morning. I said, yeah, that'd be good. Wake him up at 2 o'clock this morning. He's going to be on the road at 8.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be good. I probably wouldn't have been too happy. However, I didn't sleep last night. Probably thinking about getting to Ohio.
I wasn't going to take a chance on you not sleeping. I better just wait till the day, because somehow or another we'll wander into something.
Yeah. So what were the topics you had in mind today?
There was a couple I was thinking of. One of them had to do with whatever the Republicans are going to do, and Kevin McCarthy is the speaker now. I know the Republicans are making a lot of with their investigations, but you know how that goes.
Yeah,
I'm still leery of Kevin McCarthy being the speaker, but like I say, he's talking a good game now. We'll see what happens.
About 20 House Republicans held his feet to the fire. Everybody were the 20 holdouts, which eventually turned into like 5 or 6 present votes. They got Kevin McCarthy to agree to a number of things that are good things. And the best one, in my opinion, is that they're not requiring 5 members to petition to vacate. They'll allow 1 member to petition to vacate now.
You told me that was just a promise that he had made. That wasn't a House of Representatives deal. That was something Kevin McCarthy said.
That he agreed to, and that's how he got his votes. So now, I believe that.
But what are the stipulations behind that? Because
if he doesn't do a good job, it doesn't matter. Any member can petition him to vacate the House speakership. Doesn't mean that he has to step. 1 member instead of 5 now can do it. But there's a lot of people giving a bunch of. I've been watching Newsmax, and I'm disappointed in it about defunding the 87,000 IRS agents. What they're not saying, Newsmax is sitting there talking about, oh, they just passed a bill to defund 87,000 IRS agents. But they don't tell you that bill will not get passed in the Senate. They don't tell you that that funding was all. Yeah, it's not telling you that that bill was that 87,000 IRS members. Their funding was in that omnibus bill. So
yeah, the one that passed before Christmas.
Yeah, I'm not too happy with how people are reporting this. So the House voted on, but it ain't law. You know, all they're doing is throwing a bone with a little bit of gristle and meat on it.
Well, not even that, because if it hadn't passed through the Senate yet, you think it's got to go through the Senate, and then you got to get it signed off by the president. He vetoes it, it's got to start over.
Yeah, but the Senate won't even pass it. But
yeah, I don't think so.
It's nothing. That's just window dressing for the constituents to say, oh, yeah, we did something. You didn't do anything.
That's what we've seen really our whole lives in politics. Who is it? Is it Andy Biggs that's doing the investigation on Joe Biden right now with all the Hunter ties? And then, of course, you got Jim Jordan on the Judicial Committee that's, man, they're doing a bunch of stuff. I can't even keep up with all that they were talking about, but they're investigating Joe Biden now. Yeah. Now, of course, the Democrats are throwing it out there now that the Republicans need to get off of these investigations and get to the business of America.
only Democrats can investigate.
Oh, wait, only Democrats can investigate, and only Democrats can set up a panel of only Democrats and leave the Republicans out of it.
They had 2 favored Republicans that might as well be Democrats.
And they weren't,
one of them which already knew he was losing his seat because the census, they lost a seat in Illinois, so Kinzinger was already gone. He had no choice. And stupid ass, what's her name, from up in Wyoming?
Oh, Liz Cheney?
Yeah, Cheney. Her dumb ass was censured by the Republican Party in Wyoming, and she wasn't going to win anyway. She already knew that she was going to lose.
I thought she
So
had pulled out of the race. I didn't think she was even going to run.
no, she was going to run, and then yeah, she had so much against her, she was never going to win. Not to mention that Trump carried Wyoming by so many damn points. It was
Yeah.
like Democrats barely even got a vote, and Cheney was on the damn impeachment bandwagon. So,
Oh yeah, and you know
yeah,
that case got turned. It got turned down by the Supreme Court.
Oh yeah, there's one good thing that McCarthy did say was, I mean, needs to do it. I don't care the way he worded it. I didn't like it, but he said he was looking into releasing the video, the CCTV footage of January 6th. That
Yeah, I heard him
has
say
to be
that.
done. Yeah, that has to be done because people have been 100% propagandized to believe that was an insurrection, that government was not involved, that these people went in there to overthrow the government, which is not what happened. And the footage
there were
needs to
people
come
there
out.
that were trying to overthrow the government, pretending to be Trump followers, and they're called Antifa.
Yeah, but they weren't trying to overthrow the government. They were just trying to paint the image of Trump followers overthrowing the government.
Capitol Police really didn't help any by escorting people into the White House.
That's why they need to release this footage. You have people sitting in jail right now, and shame on those that pled guilty, which I understand they already spent almost 2 years locked up, a year and a half. I understand that they got families they have to get home to, and I understand that they were coerced and threatened into pleading guilty.
Well, all they had to do was either plead guilty or denounce Trump. I mean, as if Trump were Jesus Christ. But
I think that if Congress releases this footage, I think that alone ought to acquit every one of those members or people that have been arrested. There'll be a few of them that probably were arrested, that probably did get rowdy, and they probably deserve a charge. But not
charge
sedition.
Of what? Disturbing the peace, or
probably disturbing the peace, maybe
unruly behavior.
Yeah, some misdemeanor. But
I don't that doesn't warrant the time they've spent in jail, and not to mention the fact that they've been mistreated. Most of these people are asking to go to Gitmo, so if that tells you anything.
Yeah, their civil rights have been just totally gotten away with. But once again, that falls under the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
And the Patriot Act, that people don't realize that the Patriot Act was the damn access for the U.S. government and intelligence agencies to target American citizens under the guise of terrorism. And you already
under the guise of protecting us
from
terrorism, but now they're labeling us terrorists under the Patriot Act.
We already see parents that are concerned about their children being called terrorists. That's just as wrong as it gets. But there's no end to it. Is the elusive, invisible, almost non-existent boogeyman. You can't put a face to terrorism. Sure, there are terrorists. It's a never-ending war. All that was a guise to keep us in a perpetual war by screaming war on what terror? Who is committing this terror?
Well, the war on terror is just, you and I both know, and there's many people who know it now, that the whole declaration of war on terror was just a ruse for us to go into other countries, start wars that didn't need to be started so that we could take over somebody else's, their oil or their natural resources of whatever kind. And they used a false flag in the United States to do it. And I hate to even call it a false flag, but that's really what it was. September the 11th was one of the most gruesome false flags that has ever been committed, I think. But
yeah, and sold to the American public by people flew planes in the building, and they came from Iraq. But it was all a lie.
It was all a lie. That committee that met was at the 10th anniversary of 9/11.
Yeah.
All these mind people, these extremely intelligent scientists and all these economists and all these people that got together to determine what really happened or whether or not they should take this to the world court. They brought up so many things I figured but didn't know until I saw this. When they started talking about some of the terrorists that they had claimed were on those planes were spotted 2 days after 9/11 in another country on their way to work.
Yeah.
Not even terrorists. But we could talk about that until the cows come home, and it doesn't do anything but piss me off more and more I think about it. But a false flag, it definitely was. You know why we call it false flags, right? Or where the term false flag came from?
Where?
It actually came up in maritime situations when the two ships would approach each other and you fly your
One would display a flag that wasn't their
yeah,
nationality.
they would fly a flag that didn't belong to them, and then when they get up close to the ship they're trying to approach, then they throw their other flag up, the pirate's flag basically, and they throw it up just in time to where the unsuspecting ship would be just taken over. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's where false flag issues came from. It's amazing how the terminologies we use now come from sea type interaction.
Yeah.
Like all the American people being cargo, presumed missing or dead, lost at sea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I heard Kevin McCarthy talking about a bunch of stuff that he was planning on doing. He was actually talking about putting a stop to the overwhelming government spending. But even if he does that, he's not going to knock a dent in the situation we've got. But it'd be nice if we stop the frivolous spending or laundering money through the Ukraine or whatever. We really need to lock everything down, everything, government spending, the borders. And it's really a shame what's going on with all these people coming across the border. I forget which news I was watching, but one of the reporters was walking around in Guatemala and there's only like 150 people left there. Everybody else is over here.
Yeah.
150 people left in Guatemala. That's crazy. It's surprising that you got 3 million people in Brazil going berserk over their election. Why aren't they over here?
Yeah.
Biden's already opened up the borders to everybody that can come or that will come. And I don't know, man. Mexico is in a civil war.
Oh yeah, but that's been going on for so
Well, that's been
long
going on for
between
a
the
long time.
cartels and the government.
Yeah, but the cartels really trying to take over now.
Oh, they already run it, man. It's
Oh, they're deeply implanted.
yeah,
But
that are the governing power in Mexico.
yeah, pretty
And
much.
they're working on being the governing power here.
They're pretty doggone close.
Yeah.
As sad as it is to say, and it sucks. Me and you being veterans, and these people are taking over. That's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, that it is.
We both got a lot of friends that went to a lot of places we didn't need to be, and a lot of them didn't come home.
Yeah.
At least not the same way they went. And we always say we go to all these wars and under the flag of freedom, and it ain't for freedom. Most of what we're going over there for is to do some rich man's dirty work.
Yep. Yeah. When our government says we need to go somewhere to install democracy, then
Man, our government doesn't even
that's
know what
bullshit.
democracy is. And quite
Yeah.
frankly, I'm getting tired of hearing even the reporters on any news channel saying something is a threat to our democracy. We are not a democracy. We're a
No.
republic. And
I'll tell you what's funny about the media when they keep talking about the democracy and all, but right now they're actually reporting on these classified documents found in Biden's locations at
yeah,
Biden Penn Center and at his house and
oh yeah,
at his
right next
Washington
to his
office.
Corvette. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but the garage was.
Oh, and I love Nancy
There is
Pelosi
some.
said he's turning it over, so he's doing the right thing. He had classified
shouldn't have had it.
documents as a vice president. He doesn't have executive privilege. He can't just declassify documents.
See, this is another thing too. Cash Patel is under well, he has asserted that. Now he didn't say for sure. He doesn't have anything to back it up, but he thinks that Susan Rice is the one that possibly leaked this information. And what they're trying to do is get Biden out of the way. They don't want Biden anymore.
No,
The
Biden's
media,
been on his way out for a while, which is what
yeah,
surprised me when he announced that he's going to run for president 24. I'm like,
and I know he ain't.
yeah, they're not going to let
And
him. And even if he did get on the ticket, he's not even going to win the primary.
yeah, but the Democrats are pushing him out. That's the only way this stuff would leak because he's had this stuff for what, 5, 6
5, 6
years,
years at least.
and
At
nobody
least.
said anything. And all of a sudden, it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody on
Well,
the
it's just like
inside
Hunter's
leaked that.
laptop. We've known
Yeah,
about Hunter's laptop ever since it was picked up in, where was it? Burisma, wasn't it?
no, it was picked up at a computer shop. He dropped it off because he
No,
spilled something on it, and then
that's
he
right. That's
never
right.
came and picked it up. And the computer shop owner,
Turned it over
uh,
to somebody else to find out what was on it.
actually, he had already downloaded a lot of it. He said, man, what he saw, he said, I got to give this to the FBI. He didn't even want to look at it. He wanted it out of his shop.
That's right. He was doing a data dump on it, wasn't he?
He was trying to, when Hunter left it there and abandoned it, the computer shop owner tried to contact him to let him know, hey, you have a bill. You need to come pick your computer up. And he never did at that point. And I'm sure there was some type of a contractual thing between the computer shop and all the people that he does work for, his customers.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there is.
Yeah,
Where the
probably no
property
different than
comes
an
to
auto
him.
mechanic. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, he was trying to retrieve the data. It was legally his computer at that point.
Yeah.
And when he saw what was on it, he was like, I've got to turn this over. He didn't want that shit.
Yeah, he didn't want to look at it. Yeah.
So he turned it over to the FBI, got possession of it December 2019.
Yeah.
They
It's
just
when
sat
they
on it.
started covering it up because of the elections, which is something else Kevin McCarthy was talking about. And sure, people need to know about that laptop, but not just what's on the laptop, but how it ties to Joe Biden. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it'll show that he is, oh man, just thoroughly and utterly compromised. There's no way he should have ever even been on the presidential ticket had that laptop had come to public knowledge like it should have.
Yeah, without being suppressed by all of our intelligence agencies and the government.
And
they straight up suppressed
Facebook, Twitter, Google, everybody else covered it all up.
Well, which was acting as the arm of the government.
Exactly.
So Twitter even had correspondence with the FBI saying this is like going back to the Russia.
Yeah, the Russia collusion.
Twitter had ongoing correspondence with the FBI saying we can find nothing that connects Russia to any of this. And
well, then, Facebook too. They got the deputy director of the FBI was sending messages to both of them. Hey, did you see that? It needs to come down. Oh yeah, we're right on that. What do you mean we're right on that? You're not a news media outlet.
If you want to talk about fascism, we're living in a fascist system right now.
I would really, yeah, fascist at the very minimum, but I would have to say more communistic. It just hasn't become prevalent yet. I'd say we're on the verge of communism if we're not already there.
I know that people really have to be able to use a level of discernment and start to understand when you hear the media and all of them say the exact lines verbatim.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason for that.
They're
given a script. Yes, and it's propaganda. Mm-hmm. When you hear every media outlet use the exact same keywords, buzz phrases, headline, this is propaganda.
Or they're all on the same talking points. It doesn't matter. They're saying the exact same things.
Verbatim.
Yeah, from doing, well, I don't know how much you ever paid attention to forensic science, all that kind of stuff, but I've always been pretty interested in it, all the way down to police investigations and how they do the questionings of what they look for, everything. And you get two witnesses that say the exact same thing in two different witness rooms. That's a well-rehearsed story, and they're not buying. And I don't know why, unless the American people have been brainwashed to the point that they don't even have a baseline of fact to compare to. That's the only thing I can think of, that so many people are just not willing to accept the lies they're hearing as lies.
Yeah, I heard it on the media. I heard it on the news. They wouldn't lie to us.
Yeah, what did we hear back in Obama's administration was they somebody would say something about they heard on the news. Where'd you get that? Facebook. Oh, it's got to be true. I mean, if you got that on Facebook, man, that's some solid information right there. Critical thinking was a thing of the past too. And we're probably, I think our generation was probably one of the last generations that actually got the privilege to learn any critical thinking.
I don't
Look,
know. It's been a slow trickle of replacing a lot of these school boards and so forth. But I encourage parents, if at all possible, take your children out of school.
yeah,
Not to mention that there's a couple things in system that, in my opinion, have to change, not just for the betterment of academia, but for the
say that
now
again.
the state should set all educational standards because anything else, education to a lot of people that would be the cause behind relocating. You already have parents packing their children up to move to different school districts so their kids have a better opportunity in an athletic department. If the schools were teaching a curriculum that, I'm talking, get rid of this CRT, get rid of all of this stupid ass Common Core,
Yeah,
really start teaching civics, have a level of engagement to the point where it stimulates and encourages questioning, common sense, critical thinking. What you'll see is a difference between the states on education levels. And then you'll start to see parents saying, this place has some phenomenal education. Taking our happy asses, we're going to pack up a U-Haul and we're going to move there.
going to
So we
Florida.
can, or wherever
Yeah,
it is, so we can ensure that our children have a better education and a better opportunity as young adults and as older adults. And if they would get rid of this board of education, get rid of these damn teachers unions and put education back into the hands of the states, you would see that happen.
oh yeah, for sure.
And it would be a good selling point for states that maybe do not have great tax revenues and stuff. Focus on your education. I guarantee you people
Oh, the
will
tax
stay
revenue will
there
come up.
and then people will move there.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, that's just one thing. There's a million things that states should do, but we got to get the deep state out of it and communist China and the World Economic Forum. And we got to quit. We
the
need people that
International
have some,
Monetary Fund.
yeah, we need people that have backbone and that
Yeah,
truly serve their constituents and walk away from the allures of a deep pocket and personal gratification of a big bank account, because that shit ain't gonna last.
oh no, and for everybody that's involved in all that, everything they're involved in is gonna bite them. It's coming
Oh
back on
yeah.
them. They are not immune at
Oh
all.
no. Yeah, every Marxist and dash socialist dash communist nation, it's been proven.
Yeah,
Those are gonna be the first people that they come. They come
the
from.
United Soviet Socialist Republic, I think, was actually the USR for only, was it 65 years?
Something
A-
like that.
And Vladimir Lenin was one of the biggest proponents of ushering in socialism. But the last 2 years of his life, he worked twice as hard trying to undo everything he did. And he was the first leader of the UR. Now, that should say something.
Yeah, but
Nobody
people
believes
have,
that, probably.
but that goes back to the educational system. We have people that have been taught. Most of the teachers that got taught this didn't learn it in the preliminary schools. Most educators that are over the age of 35,
Right.
they didn't get taught this in the preliminary and secondary school. They got taught this in the
In
collegiate
college.
atmosphere.
Right.
Then they turn around and now they're corrupting the minds of our young at an earlier age. And this is not something that's going to be fixed overnight. This is going to be a multi-generational repair. You can't just turn this off like a light. This has to be turned around over probably into a third generation.
Oh, it's going to be
It's
a lot of friction
going.
that comes with it, and that's why it's going to take so long. Besides the education system needing to be revamped altogether, What I was going to say earlier about the critical thinking that our generation fortunately got a good dose of, a lot of our critical thinking didn't come from our parents making us watch the news and at the end saying, "What did you hear?" and don't tell me what they said. It was, we were down the street playing football, getting muddy and bloody and riding bikes and wrecking bikes. You know what I mean? But we were around our peers, if you will. And fortunately for us, there was a lot of those around in our neighborhood. So we had a lot of kids we got along with. We had a lot of kids we didn't get along with, but you had to learn how to adjust to society as we grew up. But that's because we were mixing and mingling with society. And now
Yeah.
with schools having been shut down, a lot of them have been shut down for right at 2 years. You got, now they're masking up kids so you can't see their face. There goes the social interaction, facial expressions, body language, things like that. You don't learn because you covered up with a mask. Most of them, if they're going to school at all, and you take away a kid's social interaction, and you get the problem we have now with the rise in kids' suicides. Not even teenage suicides, little kids. That's just really asinine what we're looking at right now as far as the younger generation goes. And it's crazy because Thomas Jefferson once said the philosophy in the schools, or the philosophies of the children today, will be the politics of tomorrow.
That's right.
And man, what philosophy do these kids have? They
A very good one. I know that.
don't have anything to work with. They're not even able to have the tools, much less learn how to use them.
Yeah, we have other problems that it goes right to what you're talking about, is this demasculation of young boys.
Oh,
Telling
yeah,
boys
man.
that men are toxic.
Masculinity's toxic.
Is required. And I don't encourage anybody going out and getting into a fight. But I tell you what, I do encourage little boys learning how to stand up for themselves. I do encourage little boys to try to resist the temptations of punching somebody in the face, but understanding if it comes to that, you don't get pushed around.
Right.
You fight back. You bust up your knuckles. You scrape up your elbows on the concrete, and you deliver an ass whooping to somebody. Masculine men are needed. If a child does not grow up learning how to defend himself, how in Zeus's ass do you expect him to be able to defend his country in the military, or defend his family when he's married, or do anything of that nature?
When fight or flight kicks in for those kids, it's over with. They're gone.
Yeah, they can't even change a tire on a car. What kind of pathetic society are we raising?
We're not really raising a society, in my opinion. I don't see it raising anything. It's kind of like that question I asked my second wife. What is your idea of parenting? Just let them do what they want to until they turn 18. They'll be fine. I was like, oh my God. No, that doesn't work. Not well. But these kids, that's about what they're getting today. And of course, the ever more famous babysitter known as video games. What are these kids playing today? Grand Theft Auto was bad enough, and now they got it. And TV programs, man, I just about can't even watch TV. I watch those documentaries a lot, or I'll watch some family programming or something. But these regular TV shows, I mean, it's violent porn now.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't got to go far to find it, that's for sure. But of course, they're pushing that in schools too.
Social engineering, that's all it is.
Social degeneration.
We'll take things that are also anti-Christ, and we're going to start introducing them, and they're not the norms. We'll start introducing them, desensitize people, and you watch this shit enough for long. It's just normal.
Yep.
No, it ain't normal.
That's a good way to end the first episode of 2023, don't you think? Look, if you enjoyed the show, give us a comment down there in the comments section. Check us out on any of your favorite podcast channels. You can even find us on Facebook at True Social. But until next time, my name is Chris Williams, and on behalf of my brother Patrick and myself, we're the Constitution Commandos, and we're signing out.